Meta, Amazon, Salesforce, Nestle, UPS, IBM. What do all these companies have in common? They have fired people in an effort to replace them with AI. And guys, this is not a new story. We've been covering layoffs for months. If you're new here, welcome. Make sure to smash subscribe so you can keep up to date with what's happening in the workforce with AI. It is changing everything. And I'm bringing you a fresh video 6 days a week. But one of the things I think is really interesting, guys, is I've seen a comment pop up quite a bit. And I'm learning so much from you guys in the comments. Keep them coming. I read every single comment. That's how I get better. Some really good stuff down there. But one of the things that you guys have mentioned is that, Mark, these firings are not for AI. They're firing people because they want to get a stock bump. They know, these companies know, if they blame AI for the replacement, their stock is going to bump. And so, you know, what I said, guys, I said, let's test that theory and let's look at some of the major layoff announcements recently and what impact has it had on the stock market. And guys, obviously the market is complicated. If you see something differently, put it in the comments below. I read every single comment. Our goal here, guys, is to help men just like you and me remain relevant, respected, and financially free during the AI revolution. AI changes everything, guys. And it's shocking to me, by the way, how many people are completely sleeping on this. I was at an event last weekend, and only a couple of the guys there were like, yeah, AI is doing a lot of changes. Most of the guys are talking about stuff that doesn't even matter. It's shocking to me. And then one day you're going to lose your job and you're going to be upset that a robot took your job. It is coming. It is happening. Now is the time to adapt. But enough about that. Let's get into Meta here, okay? So on October 22nd, Meta announced it was restructuring their AI division. They laid off 600 people. So pretty big news. And this was October 22nd. And we can see a slight bump. It looks like about a 0.1% increase on the following day. And, you know, it went up a bit. And then we had this, looks like an earnings report where we had a big drop off. Another theory that has been espoused a lot on the channel is that these companies are just way overvalued. Their amount of spend, the hundreds of billions of dollars in AI spend, isn't actually turning into earnings. And listen, we're smart guys. We understand that for something as big as AI, it takes time and investment to get the returns. But you can see that investors certainly didn't like this earnings report, and it kind of brought them down to earth. I mean, this is a huge drop off. We're dropping from 750 at close, 751 at close to 587 at close. However, regardless, in Meta's case, I don't necessarily think that you can say, okay, they announced the layoffs, 600 people in their AI super intelligence lab. Did they do that just for a spike in the stock? I don't know. A 0.1 is not that impressive to me. Let's look at Lufthansa. Let's bring up Lufthansa. So Lufthansa is an airline, and they announced that they wanted to lay off 4,000 people by 2030, specifically so they could enhance their AI and digital process to essentially replace administrative roles, which we're seeing across the industry. Now, this announcement was made on September 29th. So let's find September 29th. Okay, guys, look at this. They announced they're going to be replacing humans with AI, and their stock cratered the next day. I mean, that is not an insignificant drop. We're dropping from 7.8 at close to 7.2 at close the following day. So again, this is a place where that idea, that theory that guys were firing for AI, give us a nice stock bump. It didn't happen here. Let's look at another example here. Let's look at Accenture. Accenture is another company that we covered. And by the way, in all these companies that we're looking at here, we have covered them. We did cover the layoffs. We did cover the reasoning. You can check out the videos. I'll post links to them here in the top corner. Velko, make it happen. Velko is my amazing assistant. None of this would be possible without him. So guys, make sure you go in the comments to say, thank you, Velko, for making the videos happen. Okay, Accenture. Accenture on September 26th announced they were going to be laying off 11,000 people because they were unable to reskill them for AI. And that was on October 26th. So let's see what happened there. Okay, so October 26th, we see that announcement. And then we see a bump from 238 to 47. That's a 6% increase in their stock. Now, again, it kind of stabilized and has kind of gone up, went up a little bit more and kind of dropped down. I think these are more or less natural market fluctuations. And by the way, guys, I am not a stock expert. I'm stock interested. You could call me stock curious. But what I am interested in is how is AI impacting the workforce? That gets me very excited and concerned. So anyway, this is one for the guys in the comments who think that this is all stock manipulation. Accenture saw a spike increase, 6%. Let's look at Salesforce. Salesforce is another big one. Salesforce announced that they were going to they're going to use AI to handle 50% of their support work, and they laid off 4,000 reps. Now, this announcement was made on September 22nd. So let's go back here to September 22nd here. And their stock fell the next day, about 1% from 249 to 245, so a little more than 1%. So they're saying that they're going to be replacing humans with AI. It did not send the stock up. It sent the stock down. So, I don't know, guys. This is not actually, this theory that anytime you announce layoffs for AI, that the stock goes up. I am not seeing that. Let's look at Nestle. Nestle announced they were laying off 16,000 workers and going to replace them with automation in the food production processes. This announcement was made on October 16th. And here we go. So it's interesting, the day before that, there was a big pump. And you know what? Listen, I know that everybody acts on the up and up, but maybe people that subscribe to that theory of the AI price bump, purchased in the day beforehand. I think that's a risky business, though. If we look at other companies, it's not necessarily going to happen every time. But at any rate, October 15th, was our announcement. So October 16th, the announcement was made. And then we saw a bump in stock, 12% over that period of time when this announcement was made. I'm showing about 12.64% increase. So this is a point. Now, what's also interesting is the stock dumped the following day. So it's just interesting to see a big spike followed by a drop. One of the other things that's kind of come up here in the comments is, let's not support companies that use AI, boycott these companies. I got to say, I believe in voting with your wallet. I think that is a good thing, but every company is using AI, guys. I don't know how you're going to function in society if you're not purchasing from a company just because they use AI. My stance would be use the AI, learn the AI, support companies that are using AI ethically, that they're helping, they're investing in their employees, they're upskilling in their employees and helping them to be successful in this new world. Regardless, I think it's pretty clear that in Nestle's case, stock bump. Let's look at Amazon. Amazon, a big company. Obviously, you guys have heard of them. Your wife shops there. She makes money by returning stuff. That's how she makes her money. I know I should be a comedian. Anyway, a little bit of girl math there. Let's go back to Amazon here. So on Amazon, October 28th, announced that they had already laid off 14,000 and that they were planning another 16,000. I recorded a video on this where I kind of reported 30,000. But by the way, guys, I really try to get my numbers right, but it's difficult sometimes. Different news sources report different numbers. So I do a lot of research. All the references are in the descriptions of my videos. October 28th, Amazon announced this layoff. So let's look here. October 28th, we had a little bump. It's like a 1.47% bump, then a drop. So people kind of dumped it there. And then we had a spike after the earnings report. And now we're kind of back down. So just a lot of fluctuations with Amazon as a whole. There's been a lot of announcements with Amazon as well, whether it's firing or cloud services going down. There's a lot happening with Amazon. Data centers being built, data centers being rejected. There's just a lot happening there. However, we can see that they announced the layoffs and there was a small bump though. But am I going to say, well, this bump happened specifically because they announced they were replacing humans with AI. I don't know. That's pretty minor. I mean, it looks like pretty standard fluctuations overall. Let's look at UPS. UPS announced that they were going to be laying off 14,000 additional. They've laid off 48,000 in 2025, specifically citing that they were powering their operations and package handling with AI. Let's go back to this bump. This was October 28th. And you can see a big spike here. Big spike. Well, actually, and this is interesting. The big spike happened the day before. This is similar to what we saw with Nestle. So Nestle has a big spike the day before. They announce the layoffs, and then there's another spike. And so we're rounding that out to about a 9.17. So these are, I would consider that somewhat outliers. UPS and Nestle. We're firing people, huge spike. I mean, I can see that here, guys. I don't think it's always the case as we've seen with some of these other companies. But that certainly was a thing here. Let's keep it going. Let's look at IBM. IBM was another company that announced laying off 8,000 employees, shifting focus to AI consulting and cloud. They had an announcement just recently on November 4th. And they had a bump. We're going from 300 to 312. So that is a bump. Now we're back down to where we were before, but you see a bump. And then a couple of days later, a sell-off, dropping it down to 306. So, okay, IBM, nice little bump there. The bigger bump was October 23rd, which looks like it was right after their earnings report and some outside analysis. But anyway, interesting to see what's happening with IBM there. Little bump. General Motors. Let's look at GM. General Motors announced they were laying off 1,750. A lot of this is a little bit more complex than just AI. Tariffs, the EV subsidies dropping off, I'm sure, impacted this as well. But on October 30th, they announced these layoffs. And let's see if I can find where this is. October 30th. And then like a little small bump. But, to me, that's pretty negligible. There. I don't know that I can necessarily say that, that was a huge spike. But, something. I mean, it's not nothing. It's not nothing to see that. Overall, though, I'd say, it's down a little bit, it's up a little bit the next day. I think that looks like pretty standard stuff here. Let's look at Duolingo, who's very interesting to me. Granted, they have not, their stock charts are not going to go back too far. But one of the things I think is interesting with Duolingo is they announced big firings. They basically announced that they're not going to be using contractors anymore. They're going to be an AI first company, and their stock is down 45% over the year. Chart doesn't want to pull up here. That's fine. But their company has tanked. Let's look at Verizon. Verizon we talked about yesterday in a video. And let's see what's going on with Verizon. Verizon on November 14th announced layoffs. And then it was down a little bit over the weekend. So listen, guys, I think what I could say here is that this idea that companies are just saying, or they're saying, hey, we're laying people off, but it's only the sole purpose there is to spike their stock. I don't think that, I wouldn't bet that way, and don't consider this financial advice because I am by no means an expert in stock. I'm a hodler. I like to invest and just keep the money there. I'm not day trading, anything like that. But I think what is interesting is the impact that AI is having on the workforce. And obviously companies are laying off people day after day after day. And in most cases, they are referencing AI being AI first, being a tech forward, tech leaning company. But guys, outside of a couple outliers, like Nestle, like UPS, I'm not seeing huge bumps. I'm not seeing it. Now, granted, you guys keep me in check, and I appreciate that. So if there's other companies that we should be looking at, put it in the comments below, and I will definitely, look, guys, I read every single comment, and I know that's insane. There are some nights where I get behind because I'll have 100 comments to read, but I'm reading all the comments because you matter, your opinions matter. It helps me. It helps someone else that's in the comments trying to keep up. So anyway, I hope you like this format of video, a little bit different, but I wanted to just kind of go through this step by step, look at the actual numbers on the reports. You can see them just as clearly as I can, and tell me what I'm missing. I'll see you guys in the next video. And if you didn't watch yesterday's video, check it out. Ford has 5,000 jobs that they cannot fill. And we're going to be covering the H-1B visa program here later this week, once I can do a little bit more research on it, because there's a lot going on there. Do we need more employees? Do we not? I don't know. But Ford, Jim Farley from Ford says we need more skilled workers. We don't have enough. Anyway, check out yesterday's video. You'll like it. I'll see you there, boys. Peace.